Hello fellow nerds. Today I'm going to read from the Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual again. And I think it is time to read about the most famous fantasy creature that ever existed, the dragon. True dragons are winged reptiles of ancient lineage on fearsome power. They are known and feared for their predatory cunning and greed, with the oldest dragons accounted as some of the most powerful creatures in the world. Dragons are also magical creatures, whose innate power fuels their dreaded breath weapons and other preternatural abilities. Many creatures, including wyverns and dragon turtles, have draconic blood. However, true dragons fall into the two broad categories of chromatic and metallic dragons. The black, blue, green, red, and white dragons are selfish, evil, and feared by all. The brass, bronze, copper, gold, and silver dragons are noble, good, and highly respected by the wise. Though their goals and ideals vary tremendously, all true dragons covet wealth, hoarding mounds of coin and gathering gems, jewels, and magic items. Dragons with large hoards are loath to leave them for long, venturing out of their lairs only to patrol or feed. True dragons pass through 4 distinct stages of life, from lowly wormlings to ancient dragons, which can live for over 1,000 years. In that time, their might can become unrivaled and their hoards can grow beyond price. Dragon age categories. The wormling is of medium size. Its age ranges to 5 years or less. A young dragon is a large creature and 6 to 100 years old. An adult dragon is huge and 101 to 800 years old. And lastly, the ancient dragon is gargantuan and is 801 years or more old. Dragons are innately magical creatures that can master a few spells as they age, using this variant. A young or older dragon can innately cast a number of spells equal to its charisma modifier. Each spell can be cast once per day, requiring no material components, and the spell's level can be no higher than 1/3 the dragon's challenge rating, rounded down. The dragon's bonus to hit with spell attacks is equal to its proficiency bonus plus its charisma bonus. The dragon's spell save DC equals 8 plus its proficiency bonus plus its charisma modifier. Chromatic dragons. The black, blue, green, red, and white dragons represent the evil side of dragonkind. Aggressive, gluttonous, and vain, chromatic dragons are dark sages and powerful tyrants feared by all creatures, including each other. Driven by greed. Chromatic dragons lust after treasure, and this greed colors their every scheme and plot. They believe that the world's wealth belongs to them by right, and a chromatic dragon seizes that wealth without regard for the humanoids and other creatures that have stolen it. With its piles of coin amassing wealth for no other reason than to have it. Creatures of ego. Chromatic dragons are united by their sense of superiority, believing themselves the most powerful and worthy of all mortal creatures. When they interact with other creatures, it is only to further their own interests. They believe in their innate right to rule, and this belief is the cornerstone of every chromatic dragon's personality and worldview. Trying to humble a chromatic dragon is like trying to convince the wind to stop blowing. To these creatures, humanoids are animals, fit to serve as prey or beasts of burden, and wholly unworthy of respect. Dangerous lairs. A dragon's lair serves as the seat of its power and a vault for its treasure. With its innate toughness and tolerance for severe environmental effects, a dragon selects or builds a lair not for shelter, but for defense, favoring multiple entrances and exits, and security for its hoard. Most chromatic dragon lairs are hidden in dangerous and remote locations to prevent all but the most audacious mortals from reaching them. A black dragon might lair in the heart of a vast swamp, while a red dragon might claim the caldera of an active volcano. In addition to the natural defenses of their lairs, powerful chromatic dragons use magical guardians, traps, and subservient creatures to protect their treasures. Queen of Evil Dragons. Tiamat, the Dragon Queen, is the chief deity of evil dragonkind. She dwells on Avernus, the first layer of the 9 hells. As a lesser god, Tiamat has the power to grant spells to her worshippers, though she is loath to share her power. She epitomizes the avarice and evil dragons, believing that the multiverse and all its treasures will one day be hers and hers alone. Tiamat is a gigantic dragon whose 5 heads reflect the forms of the chromatic dragons that worship her: black, blue, green, red, and white. She is a terror on the battlefield, capable of annihilating whole armies with her 5 breath weapons, her formidable spellcasting, and her fearsome claws. Tiamat's most hated enemy is Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon, with whom she shares control of the faith of dragonkind. She also holds a special enmity for Asmodeus, who long ago stripped her of the rule of Avernus, and who continues to curb the Dragon Queen's power. Ancient Black Dragon. A gargantuan dragon with an chaotic evil alignment. Its armor class is 22 of natural armor. It has 367 hit points, or 21 d20 plus 147. Its speed when walking is 50 feet, when flying it's 80 feet, and swimming 40 feet. Its strength is 27 with a modifier plus 8. Its dexterity is a 14 with a modifier plus 2. Its constitution is a 25 with a modifier plus 7. Its intelligence amounts to a 16 with a modifier of 3. Its wisdom is a 15 with a modifier plus 2. And its charisma is a 19 with a modifier plus 4. saving throws, plus 14 on Constitution saving throws, plus 9 on Wisdom saving throws, and plus 11 on Charisma saving throws. It gains plus 16 on Perception and plus 9 on Stealth. It is immune to acid damage. It has 60 feet blind sight, 120 feet dark vision, and a passive perception of 26. It speaks and understands Common and Draconic. Its challenge rating is a 21. Amphibious. The dragon can breathe air and water. Legendary resistance 3 times a day. If the dragon fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. Actions. Multi-attack. The dragon can use its frightful presence. It then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Bite, melee weapon, plus 15 to hit, with a reach of 15 feet, 1 target. When hitting, it causes 19 or 2d10 plus 8 piercing damage, and plus 9 or 2d8 acid damage. Claw, melee weapon attack, plus 15 to hit, with a reach of 10 feet, 1 target. It causes 15 or 2d6 plus 8 slashing damage. Tail, melee weapon, plus 15 to hit, with a reach of 20 feet, 1 target. It causes 17 or 2d8 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. Frightful presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it must succeed on a DC 19 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If a creature saving throw is successful or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to the dragon's frightful presence for the next 24 hours. Acid breath. Recharge 5 to 6. The dragon exhales acid in a 90-foot line that's 10 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 22 dexterity saving throw, taking 67 or 15d8 acid damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Legendary actions. The dragon can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action option can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. The dragon regains spent legendary actions at the end of its turn. Holy crap. Detect. The dragon makes a Wisdom perception check. Tail attack. The dragon makes a tail attack. Wing attack. Costs 2 actions. The dragon beats its wings. Each creature within 50 feet of the dragon must succeed on a DC 23 dexterity saving throw, or take 15 or 2d6 plus 8 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. The dragon can then fly up to half its flying speed. Now I'm going to skip over the stat blocks for the adult black dragon, the young black dragon, and the black dragon wormling, because it's basically the same but watered down. The most evil-tempered and vile of the chromatic dragons, black dragons collect the wreckage and treasures of fallen peoples. These dragons loathe seeing the weak prosper and revel in the collapse of humanoid kingdoms. They make their homes in the fetid swamps and crumbling ruins where kingdoms once stood. With deep-socketed eyes and broad nasal openings, a black dragon's face resembles a skull. Its curving, segmented horns are bone-colored near the base and darken to dead black at the tips. As a black dragon ages, the flesh around its horns and cheekbones deteriorates as though eaten by acid, leaving thin layers of hide that enhance its skeletal appearance. A black dragon's head is marked by spikes and horns. Its tongue is flat with a forked tip, drooling slime whose acidic scent adds to the dragon's reek of rotting vegetation and foul water. When it hatches, a black dragon has glossy black scale. As it ages, its scale becomes thicker and duller, helping it blend into the marshes and blasted ruins that are its home. Brutal and cruel. All chromatic dragons are evil, but black dragons stand apart for their sadistic nature. A black dragon lives to watch its prey beg for mercy and will often offer the illusion of respite or escape before finishing off its enemies. A black dragon strikes at its weakest enemies first, ensuring a quick and brutal victory which bolsters its ego as it terrifies its remaining foes. On the verge of defeat, a black dragon does anything it can to save itself, but it accepts death before allowing any other creature to claim mastery over it. Foes and servants. Black dragons hate and fear other dragons. They spy on draconic rivals from afar, looking for opportunities to slay weaker dragons and avoid stronger ones. If a stronger dragon threatens it, a black dragon abandons its lair and seeks out new territory. Evil lizard folk venerate and serve black dragons, raiding humanoid settlements for treasure and food to give as tribute, and building crude draconic effigies along the borders of their dragon master's domain. A black dragon's malevolent influence might also cause a spontaneous creation of evil shambling mounds that seek out and slay good creatures approaching the dragon's lair. Kobolds infest the lairs of many black dragons like vermin. They become as cruel as their dark masters, often torturing and weakening captives with centipede bites and scorpion stings before delivering them to sate the dragon's hunger. Wealth of the ancients. Black dragons hoard the treasures and magic items of crumbled empires and conquered kingdoms to remind themselves of their greatness. The more civilizations a dragon outlasts, the more entitled it feels to claim the wealth of current dragon civilizations for itself. A black dragon's lair. Black dragons dwell in swamps on the frayed edges of civilization. A black dragon's lair is a dismal cave, grotto or ruin that is at least partially flooded, providing pools where the dragon rests and where its victims can ferment. The lair is littered with the acid-pitted bones of previous victims and the fly-ridden carcasses of fresh kills, watched over by crumbling statues. Centipedes, scorpions and snakes infest the lair, which is filled with a stench of death and decay. Lair actions. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, the dragon takes a lair action to cause one of the following effects. The dragon can't use the same effect 2 rounds in a row. Pools of water that the dragon can see within 120 feet of it surge outward in a grasping tide. Any creature on the ground within 20 feet of such a pool must succeed on a DC 15 strength saving throw or be pulled up to 20 feet into the water and knocked prone. A cloud of swarming insects fills a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point the dragon chooses within 120 feet of it. The cloud spreads around corners and remains until the dragon dismisses it as an action, uses this lair action again, or dies. The cloud is lightly obscured. Any creature in the cloud when it appears must make on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Taking 10 or 3d6 piercing damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. A creature that ends its turn in the cloud takes 10 or 3d6 piercing damage. Magical darkness spreads from a point the dragon chooses within 60 feet of it, filling a 15-foot radius sphere, until the dragon dismisses it as an action, uses this lair action again, or dies. The darkness spreads around corners. A creature with dark vision can't see through this darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. If any of the effects area overlaps with an area of light created by a spell of 2nd level or lower, the spell that created the light is dispelled. Regional effects. The region containing a legendary black dragon's lair is warped by the dragon's magic, which creates one or more of the following effects. The land within 6 miles of the lair takes twice as long as normal to traverse, since the plants grow thick and twisted and the swarms are thick with reeking mud. Water sources within 1 mile of the lair are supernaturally fouled. Enemies of the dragon that drink such water regurgitate it within minutes. Fog lightly obscures the land within 6 miles of the lair. If the dragon dies, vegetation remains as it has grown, but other effects fade over 1d10 days. So much for the black dragon. I hope you found this relaxing. And I also hope I will see you again next time. Until then, bye bye fellow nerds.